Okay, so picture this. Your firm is finally ready to expand into one of the most dynamic markets in the world. You've got the perfect office space locked down in Shanghai, your business plan is rock solid, and you literally just interviewed this incredible, perfect fit local candidate. You're super excited, you're ready to send over that employment contract, and then you hit a wall. You have to ask yourself, wait, can a foreign representative office actually hire someone directly in China? It's the fundamental question that catches almost every foreign firm completely off guard when they try to expand into the region.
Well, the answer is a flat, unambiguous no. It is legally prohibited. And this isn't just, a matter of bureaucratic red tape or some slow administrative process that you can kind of just wait out. It is a stark reality dictated by strict Chinese regulation. You simply cannot legally sign an employment contract directly with a local candidate through a representative office.
So, welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to be with you today. I absolutely love taking these complex, sometimes super intimidating local regulatory landscapes and turning them into actionable, stress-free solutions. Today, we're diving deep into the realities of hiring in China. We're going to focus specifically on the critical employer of record, or EOR, and recruitment services that overseas companies absolutely must leverage if they want to build their teams legally and efficiently.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our agenda. 1. The direct hiring trap. 2. Defining the role scope. 3. The EOR hiring solution. 4. A practical EOR example. And 5. Comprehensive China HR services.
Let's start with Section 1, the direct hiring trap, understanding the legal roadblocks.
There's this really clear quote from a U.S. government overview on professional services licensing in China that hits the nail on the head. It states that representative offices are generally barred from directly employing Chinese nationals. See, when a foreign firm, let's say a law firm, for example, enters China, they typically operate through what's called a legal representative office. But this office is really just an extension of the overseas firm. Because of that specific status, putting local staff directly on your own payroll, it's entirely off the table.
To put that into perspective, you have to understand the difference between a legal representative office, or LRO, and a wholly foreign-owned enterprise, or WFOE. An LRO comes with incredibly narrow restrictions and, as we just learned, strictly cannot hire directly. On the flip side, a WFOE is a standalone legal entity that actually has its own hiring powers. Understanding this technicality is absolutely crucial. It's the first massive hurdle you have to clear. If you're operating as an LRO, you have to play by a very specific set of rules.
Moving right along to Section 2. Defining the role scope, staying compliant.
Now, what's really interesting here is how tightly a role must be defined. Let's say you're hiring a legal assistant. Because foreign law firms cannot practice PRC law, this role must be strictly supportive. We're talking about research, document drafting assistance, translation, and coordination. They absolutely cannot practice PRC law. Actually, let me rephrase that. It's not just a guideline, it's a hard boundary. Local bar associations have heavily penalized firms for using the title legal assistant as a sneaky workaround for utilizing unlicensed practitioners.
And this fact, it literally blows people's minds every time. If you hire a fully licensed PRC lawyer to work inside your representative office, they legally become a legal assistant, and they must suspend their actual law license for the duration of their employment with you. Crazy, right? This surprises candidates constantly, so it is a vital conversation to have super early on, just to protect both your firm and your new employee.
All right, let's move to Section 3, the EOR hiring solution, your legal workaround.
Okay, so here is the golden key to the Chinese market. It's called the Employer of Record, or EOR model, sometimes referred to as FESCO. In this setup, a licensed local HR provider basically steps in and becomes the legal employer on paper. They sign the contract, but you, the foreign firm, you get to retain full operational control over everything, the interviews, the case assignments, their day-to-day work. It's honestly a seamless bridge over a massive regulatory gap. It's like a giant puzzle, and the EOR is that perfect missing piece.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, it's all about speed. If you go with Route 1, the EOR model, onboarding takes just 5 to 10 business days from the moment you confirm a candidate to their very first day of work. But if you try to build out a WFOE to hire directly, oh boy, you are looking at months of heavy overhead, structural commitment, and an absolute mountain of red tape. For early hires, for sure, the EOR route is undeniably superior.
But wait, it gets better. The EOR doesn't just sign the contract. They take on the massive administrative burden of China's mandatory contributions. You'll often hear this called the 5 insurances and 1 fund.
This includes pension, medical, unemployment, work injury, and maternity insurance, plus a housing provident fund. And get this, the contribution rates vary city by city. It is incredibly intimidating to navigate alone, but an EOR handles the whole shebang. They do all of these complex monthly filings for you, completely automatically.
Let's look at Section 4, a practical EOR example. Australian law firm in Shenzhen. Let's walk through a real-world example to see how this actually plays out. We have a mini case study from our source material involving an Australian law firm operating in Shenzhen. Step 1, they desperately needed a bilingual legal assistant to review documents and liaise with local co-counsel. Step 2, they slammed right into that massive regulatory wall. Their representative office couldn't legally sign the contract. So, Step 3, a specialized service provider named Out to China stepped in as the licensed EOR to seamlessly bridge the gap and just get the hire made.
You might be wondering, what exactly does a local partner like Out to China actually take off the foreign firm's plate? Well, a lot. They handle the initial candidate screening, localizing the contract so it perfectly meets Chinese labor laws, managing the local registration, processing the monthly payroll, and handling all those super tricky social insurance filings we just talked about. And meanwhile, that Australian law firm retains 100% control over the assistant's actual daily work.
Finally, let's jump to Section 5, Comprehensive China HR Services Beyond the EOR.
Let's zoom out a bit. If you're an overseas company wanting to hire in China, EOR is just the start. Providers like Out to China offer a really comprehensive suite of capabilities to help you truly scale. We're talking recruitment process outsourcing to handle your entire hiring funnel, virtual assistant outsourcing, dedicated headhunting for those hard-to-fill specialized roles, strict payroll and tax compliance, and even full business setup services. It's essentially a complete toolkit designed specifically for overseas companies who are ready to hit the ground running. Now I want to leave you with a number that should bring you a whole lot of peace of mind. 48. 48 hours is all it takes to receive a tailored company introduction and a full-service product quotation after you submit a simple inquiry to Out to China. You don't have to sit around waiting for weeks in the dark just to figure out your next operational move.
So, here's the big question I'll leave you with. Are you ready to build your China team without all that red tape? You know, the regulatory landscape might seem pretty impossible at first glance, but when you have the right local partner managing all that complex compliance and EOR responsibility, the actual hiring can move just as fast as it would in your home jurisdiction. The opportunity is absolutely there. You just need the right key to unlock the door. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really can't wait to guide you through our next topic.